Hey, welcome back. All right. So now we're going to put together our post-processing volume, our physics volume, make it a water volume so that our character can swim in it. And we're going to put some treading water and swimming animations together and get the mechanics of that working right. And so I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right. Welcome back. We are going to work on putting in a post-processing volume, so when you come underwater. Oh, by the way, there's something I forgot to set on the material. I'll show you that in a second. We can see this from up here. If we go over here and look at our material, if we come over here with this node selected and we type in 2, you'll see two-sided. That has to be turned on. That way, when you go under the water and you look up, you see the water at the surface. So what we're going to do now is toss in a post-processing volume, and I have it selected up here already. If you type in post-process volume, we can get this. We can throw it right down here. We can come up here and go into top view, out here a little bit. We'll scale this up. Come on, scale. We'll scale this up about like that. We'll have to move it a little bit. That's probably about right. Scale it up this way. Move it. We want it to cover all of our water area, but not overly large. Post-process volume. Scale it this way. Scale it this way a little bit more. Move it so it's covered all the water. All right. And let's go back into perspective mode. And we need to scale it in the Z quite a lot. We'll check out where we are, and then we need to pull it down to near the surface of the water. And with that selected, come over here, and well, let me clear this out. I'll show you. Way down in here somewhere, there's this. There's a lot of stuff in a post-processing volume. It's easier to just look for things. So I'm going to come in here and type in scene. And you'll see here we have this scene color tint. Okay? And we can set the color tint of this, something maybe a little bit greenish or something. It might be a little bit bright. I don't know why it keeps doing this saving thing. Maybe I froze. Great. Alright, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back when this is straightened out. Okay, we're back, and I finally got saved or whatever, and the lighting got built. So if we go down here now, you'll see we go under here. It looks a little tinted. We need to darken it up a little bit and maybe make it a little more green, and maybe we'll make this muddy. We probably got to come down here and straighten this out a little bit. This is really deep. Let's go way down here. See, now we're out of the post-processing volume when we got down here, so it's not quite scaled in Z enough, but pretty close. So we'll come up here and we'll hit the scale. Darn it. We'll hit the scale. Post-processing volume. Z. Z. We'll scale it up a little bit so it's up here now. Scale it up a little bit more. And then we'll move it down to near the water level. Now what I'm going to do is bring my camera down here, and I want to see where, actually that's pretty close. When we're up here, we come down, it changes. It's got to come up a tiny bit, I think. Oops. Raise it just a little. Oh, there's one thing I need to set on this too, is how close you are. See, it starts to affect you up here. So what we want to do here, let me try to remember what that's called. Oh yeah. Oh, that's chromatic aberration. We'll get to that. It's the I'm trying to remember what it's called. There is a value for, let me see if I can find it over here. Default value is like 100. I'm going to set it down lower to like 5. Blend radius, that's it. So if we come in here and we just type in blend, okay, post-processing volume, blend radius is set to 100. We want to set it to 5. Okay, now we got to get much closer to the water, but it's still, our thing is still a little bit above the water, I think. So where's our thing? I'm going to lower this down just a hair. So now when we go down into the water, it changes. When we come out of the water, that's pretty good. That's not bad. We get to the water and it changes. It could be a tiny bit lower, just a tiny bit. Let's go up here and check it. We come out of the water and it changes. We go into the water. Good. And if we go all the way down here to the bottom, yeah, it's still in the, still doing the post-processing thing. So, all right. So then the next thing we want to set here is the chromatic aberration. And what do I want to set that to? I don't even have it turned on over there, so I'm not sure. Let's set it to 3 and see what happens. Well, it's kind of hard to tell because there's not a whole lot up there. Let's set it back to 0. And that's doing those things. Let's start cranking it up. Oh, the maximum number is 1. Okay. Well, let's just set it up. Let's set it to like 0.25. And it still doesn't, it's still fairly bright in here, and I think that's because of our color. So let's go back to our scene color, and let's maybe darken this some more. Fairly dark. And fairly green. I think that's too green. I think we want to be more bluish or bluish green. Okay. All right. And this will look a little bit better if this was mud instead of, and I bet I'm going to have to compile shaders to do that. So, so the next thing that we want to throw in here is a physics volume. We'll go in here and put in physics volume, drag it out, drop it in here. Same thing. We're going to we'll start by going to the top view because it's easiest way to scale. And just scale it out. Scale it out. Physics volume. There it is. Move it. Scale a little bit more this way and a little bit more this way. Let's see if we can move it now into place. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Let's go back to perspective mode. Pull it. Yeah, see, it's fairly. We got to make it fairly tall. Go all the way down to our bottom of our thing there. So let's go back to position, and I can actually probably sink down there and see. We want it to be right at the level of the water as well, but it's really hard to see. So maybe we have to go down here And it's, oh wow, I hit that pretty close in size and everything else. So let's get this down here right at the surface of the water. That looks like it's pretty close to the surface of the water. Yep. And it looks like it's covering all the water. Okay, now what we're going to do is just go in here with the physics volume, and we're going to type in swim. Excuse me. Okay, we're back. And so what you want to do here, I keep thinking swim. What we want to do is tell it that this is a water volume. And a very amazing thing will happen when we do this. Well, we just fell right through the world. Oh, yeah, that's because I wasn't in the world. All right, play. All right, an amazing thing will happen when we do this is we'll walk into here and not sink, or sink very slowly. And we can move around. We move very slowly. We're kind of walking. We're buoyant in here. We can't at this time move up or down, but technically we are swimming. In fact, you can even see our shadow there. So we're now in a swim volume. Now the thing is, she's neutral buoyant. So what we're going to do is go back over here to our content browser, go to our characters, our Alexa blueprints, and her, no, not the blend space, the blueprint, here to the character movement. All right, I'm going to find this character movement walking. Does it have to do with swim? Maximum swim speed, buoyancy. Oh, I was spelling it wrong, of course. And we want to set this to about 1.2. And that makes the character slightly buoyant, so when we come over here and play, and now we walk into it, we should stay near the surface. And there we are, we're near the surface. We could be a little bit more buoyant. Go back here to this. Buoyancy, let's set it to 1.3 and see what that does. Compile, play, and not much. She barely keeps her head above, but that's okay because we're going to have an animation in here that has her treading water, and that'll raise her up just a little bit. I do believe the animation lifts the character slightly. So. Yep, in the next section we will put in the swim animations. Okay, we are back, and now what we're going to do is give our characters some swim animations. And at Mixamo, I took and went to our Arissa character and got a couple of animations for her here, and we will select the Arissa skeleton and import all. And here we have a swimming and treading water animation. So now we need a blend space for her swimming function. So we'll come in here, and we may put turning and stuff in at some point in time if I can get the right animations going. So under animation, we're going to select animation blend space. So it's a 2D. We'll select the Arissa. And we will call this Arissa swim blend space. And we'll open it up. And now we've got this Arissa swimming and Arissa treading water. So we don't care really about the horizontal axis. I will call it direction for now. Darn it. Direction. And the vertical axis, I'll call it speed. And from her blueprint, her maximum swim speed is 300. So we'll set that to 300. And then we'll just take the treading water animation and put it down here at 0. And there she is treading water. And the swimming one, we'll put it up here at 300, the maximum. And now we can see her transition from treading water to swimming. So there's that. We will save it. Very easy. I'm going to save her blueprint. Now in her blueprint, the best place to do this is here, probably at movement, because you're going to be moving, and when you're moving, you're going to be, to get into water, you're going to have to move into the water. So what we're going to do is open this out a little bit, and we're going to get the character movement controller, and we're going to get the movement mode. We want to get the movement mode, and we're going to take this and promote it to a variable. And we're going to come right in here, and when we move forward or move right, either one, let's actually move all of this out over here. Let's expand this out, and let's set this from either of these. So we can set it from here, and we can set it from here. Alright, so now this variable, which we're going to rename, let me clear this, we're going to move it to change it to movement mode. Alright, and we're going to set it to public, and we're going to compile that and save it. So now we've got easy access to our movement mode without having to crawl through all of this from the animation blueprint. So now we're going to open up Arissa's animation blueprint, which is the AnimBP. And that's the moving function. We want the event graph. And so when we come off of here, we want to get, we already have the player pawn cast to the Arissa blueprint here. So we can pick this up, and we can come over here and we can say get movement mode. So we've got the movement mode. We can take this and promote this to a variable right out of here. And to make this a little cleaner, I think I'll move this down here. And then we will call this again just movement mode. All right. So that reaches out. So when we're moving, we're constantly updating our movement mode. And that movement mode can be walking, running, swimming, and several other things. We won't worry about the other things. It's an enumeration. It's set in the blueprint, and whenever the animation is updating here, it's updating our animation blueprint to have a copy of that movement mode in our variables down here, movement mode. Okay, so far so good. Let's go back to what is going on here? Anim graph. All right. So now we've got idle and moving, and now we can also have swimming. Actually, I'm going to add state and call it swimming. And swimming can either be treading water or swimming through the water. So how do we get into, well, first of all, we want to be able to go back to moving. I suppose technically, but yeah, now we'll go back to moving, which could also take us back to idle. So how do we get into it? Well, we get into it when we come down here and get movement mode, get movement mode, and we say equal to, and we're equal to enum, and it already knows the enumeration, and it's use animation. All right, I'm back. I figured out what I did. I picked up the wrong value from here. I picked up get animation mode instead of get movement mode somehow, and it looked very similar in name, but it's get movement mode is what I wanted, and this is now a e movement mode enumeration. We can compile that, and we can go back to here, and now we can grab this movement mode, get the movement mode, and now we can say equals and come down here and equals enum, and it says none. We want swimming, and this will allow it to go into the swimming mode when that mode is swimming, and that's good. So now we go back to here, and we want to come out of this. How do we want to come out of it? Well, let's get this, and let's say not equal enum, and we'll put in swimming. So we want to come out of this swimming state whenever we're not equal to the swimming mode, and that is returns true if a is not equal. Yep. So when it's not the swimming mode, we'll come out of that. And so now, what about swimming? Well, that's really straightforward, because we have this swimming. We should have this swimming blend space. Where is it? It says swim, ERISA swim blend space. We drop it into here and put it into here, and we already have a speed, whatever speed she's going, so we'll drop it in here. At some point in time, we might set up and do things with direction, but we're not right now. So let's compile it, save it, and let's see what happens when she goes into swim mode. Let me open up my open world here, and with any luck, she'll just go in and start swimming immediately. So let's hit play, and I will maximize this so you can see it really well. And here we go. We're in, and she's swimming. And if we stop, she should come to the surface, slow down, and start treading water. Now this is where the buoyancy thing comes in. So she's treading water below the water level. So it might be that we need to raise the water level object a little bit, but we'll first try to make her a little more buoyant. So let's go to our blueprint, and we have character movement BU. Buoyancy is, I set it to 1.3. Wow, 1.4 maybe. Pile, save. Let's try it again. Make it big. And let's have her stop. Still, she's treading water below water. That may be because of where the volume is. I think that's a problem with the volume. So let's take our physics volume here, and we'll pull it up a tiny bit. There. Now she's probably a little too buoyant, but she's sort of treading water above water. Let's move that buoyancy back down where it was. Or actually, I'm going to make it 1.2, which is what I think I did in my testing, and see how she does. All right, so runs into the water, and there we go. We're swimming. We're swimming, and now we're treading water sort of on the surface. Not too bad. Now if we start moving, Switch into first person, we're swimming underwater, but now we're only swimming on the level. So in another section here, what we will do is get her to swim up and down, be able to swim all the way down there and all the way back. And then we got to start worrying about character damage and stuff like that. I think I'm going to hold off on that a little bit because there's just a lot of different things that we want to consider when we consider things like character damage. But here in first person mode, our head does come just above water when we're treading water. So she's doing a pretty good job of treading water there. We walk on out and she starts walking again. So there we go. In, swim across the water, and climb out. There it is. Swimming animations. We have them. So we just got a little bit more work to do. There's a little puddle there. I could do something about that. Probably will. So that's it for this section. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Great. So there we go. We've got a swimming character now. Now we're going to have to worry about character stats in the future and things like air, how much air they have to breathe, and whether they've got magic spells or a magic item to help them breathe underwater and all that. We'll get to that in coming episodes. But for now, we've got the mechanic of moving through water working, and we can do a lot of interesting things with that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you really liked it, hit that like button. And if you want to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to get updates when I post videos, hit that notify button, and you'll receive an email. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.